Welcome to Onivia Highlights. These are the best highlights from the LCK Spring 2025.
Back, but there is no one else here, and Jiwoo is just wandering up towards the lane. So that can be a little bit of a worry here for DRX. That's okay. Finally, the knockup is going to connect. Make it rain coming on down there, as Teddy was really frustratingly minion blocked throughout. That is what it looked like to me. Sponge going to be able to kill the Gwen. That is the question. Teddy also is in trouble. Gideon going to clear out of control ward. They know exactly what's going on as the cleanse comes on through. Arrow comes down at the same time as Pleta just trying to shield up Teddy, and he does so. Jiwoo and Lehen so incredibly low, but Gideon, all he needs is a heroic charge, and Jiwoo stay out of double up range. That would be embarrassing if that was to happen, and he wants it and doesn't get it.
Nearly finds Lehen's there, pretty close, and you know, it wasn't a great situation, but it is Lehens who ends up getting the kill. I think that's considering how that play started.
No one finishing their first items just yet, and Gideon wanting to stop Ambessa from doing all of the things that she wants to do, which is dash all the time and forever. And she's just dead. No way out, no option, and Kingin gonna grab even more plates on top.
Yeah, and with this first turret, Nongshim just need a kill or an objective, and they will get feats of strength.
Yeah.
Spoiled for choice a little bit.
They just present so many issues here for DRX to deal with, because them together make for such a deadly combination. Gwen, I think 1 versus 3 if she gets accelerate. Does have a gold advantage in this lane as well. Just feels absolutely suffocating. 4,000 gold is now the lead. Kind of out of nowhere is what it feels like, as Rich finds a great trade against Kingin, all things considered. And Pleta looking for a bit of a knock-up as the quickness comes on down. Fisher just going to escape by diving to the other side of his circle, and that's going to work out nicely, but Lehens needs to flash the Emperor's Divide, and they seem to just have the answers as Rich gets a public execution. Gideon cannot tank this up for too much longer, but the flash out from Kingin will save his life, and they're going to look for an inner turret off the back end. This is so clean from Nongshim.
Yeah, so much gold going to come through from this as well. Over onto that Gwen. This Gwen
also looking like it's shrinking.
Yeah, and the other alternative is you just all in on this fight around Dragon. You're at a massive deficit. I think you have to play pretty much perfectly if you're going to win this. But do you prefer a quick death or a slow one?
Yeah, I think a quick one sounds better. You know, let's risk it. As now Kingin moving on underneath this outer turret. The Rift Arrow going to help knock that one down as the deficit is even larger.
Off on a tangent.
Oh, that ward. That ward's high value. As Fisher dives in, they knew exactly what was coming. Hostile takeover does nothing as Sponge able to get them out of there with the ulti. This is a lot of cooldowns now eaten. Rich comes in, immediate interruption on the quickness, but still able to get a couple of charms as the arrow finds no joy. The Ambessa gets out of there immediately, and the jungler is dead. Oh, the wallets, Ox. The wallets are just so heavy. And even though Nongshim have missed the majority of their buttons, it doesn't matter. Their mere existence is enough to push DRX away.
Yeah, they can just kind of stand there and do a little bit of damage, and it'll make all the difference. Oh, they found maybe Fisher.
Hostile takeover comes in. That's the Drake being picked up as Rich is going to flash away. Heroic charge from Gideon. Says good night to the Rakan. And Rich, yeah, he just realizes he's not going to make it out. The bailout was also still ticking, I believe, on the Aurora, and isn't able to find any joy there. And that was what we wanted. We wanted to send... Not quite at 2 items yet. Kingin is well and truly there for now.
I mean, they're doing the Atakan now, and
Pleta's going to have to face check. The arrow is going to come in after the handshake, and he does take a lot of damage. They're not going to overcommit, as the Atakan is the option by Sponge. Atakan is just going to be taken here by Nongshim. And this is the problem with a Poppy that gets ahead. You just get to press R from Fog of War anytime you want.
Yep. And this game is feeling dire, you know? There's been games before where you've had a big lead, but you're like, hey, maybe someone will make a bet on their hair, and we'll be able to turn it around.
Do you think even if I, like, bet on this, that there would be any chance? I don't even think it'd be interesting.
This is what I mean. This is the sort of game where, like, I don't think there's that caveat. There's not, like, the...
Yeah.
I just think they're so behind with a composition that's...
To be fair, I did think my hair was safe that last time as well. As Sponge and Rich are going to get this one turned on them. They thought they did a fair bit of damage there to Kingin, and in fact, Kingin does have the Atakan buff, so it doesn't even matter if he dies. Snip, snip, goes the Gwen, and Kingin's just playing a game of inches here towards the bottom side, and it's working. Jiwoo might actually get recalled, and so his withdrawal should be...
like, they still have a kill. You know, they got a recall, that's it.
Yeah, it's 8 to 0.
It is not going well, and I feel like at this point you're kind of thinking about game 2. You're thinking about what went wrong. At least this is fearless, so you don't have to deal with some of these factors. Oh,
Teddy may just die. Needed actually a little bit extra there as Teddy was able to utilize his lifesteal pretty effectively. Going into the stealth, and Fisher should be dead now. No, not dead. He's going to be withdrawn now.
I mean,
400 gold?
Yeah. Well, this is some Gwen magic, and we questioned the leaving the Gwen open. I think we've seen generally Kalista be a lot more counterable.
Yeah. This is when I thought he was probably going to die, and it was going to be still like doomed anyway, and he didn't die.
Gwen is immune. I think that is the lesson we're learning here.
Yes. And DRX unfortunately are not immune. Oh, get over here, Sponge, as he does throw down the ulti, so that keeps him alive. King in. I was going to say he's in trouble, but he's probably not.
Big damage.
He definitely is. He's going to try and get bailed out, but it does not work. Keeper's Verdict gets rid of the Ambessa.
That's a real kill.
That's an actual kill.
They're on the board.
Oh, here for Nongshim.
Oh, man. Mountains with a Poppy who's this fed.
Yeah. And going to have even more armor, so Rich and Teddy are going to do even less damage.
Yep. It's also the Sundered Sky, Dead Man's Plate.
One that's going to come over here. Jiu finally turns up, and that's going to help them with a bit of extra damage from taking this one down. Kingen should be able to just execute it, basically, from approximately 3,000 health. And that's what we're seeing right here. Wow, this Gwen does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Baron just going to be secured for free.
Some items. Close to Infinity Edge.
There we go. They don't have an Azir. That's a negative. They don't have bullet time either, as the arrow is going to hit onto Teddy. Does try to Captain Jacket, as that is a nice ulti from Sponge. They've eaten a fair bit of the engage, but it's only a one-person grand entrance. And Fisher is now looking to try and answer it. Hostile Takeover finds no joy at all, but it just buys space. They're able to get themselves the inhibitor. Rich is fighting against King and actually doing pretty well in a fair fight. I don't think that Nongshim have any intention of actually having a fair fight here. They don't really need to, as Pleta gets taken down to half just as an afterthought by Nongshim. Still they hope. So what it kind of feels like here. And so now we're going to see another attempted pick, and it's Gideon. And so DRX realized that 3 people are not enough to, to kill the Poppy.
7? How many do you need at this point?
Yeah, a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Or just maybe a lot more time.
Or maybe just stronger people.
Yeah. Or a game 2 in a fearless draft scenario.
That could be good.
That would certainly help to deal with this Poppy issue right now. And it's not because Poppy the champion is that broken as well. I mean, she is very, very strong. But Gideon has played extremely well and is so fed.
I think something that's been talked about a lot recently is how bot lane, how priority is really important now in the early levels, particularly when you're playing, now we're playing standard lanes again.
Yeah.
I think kind of taking the Rakan on 4 instead of leaving counter pick for support was a mistake, especially if you're just going to pick MF anyway. But also...
It'd be a really hard time.
Yeah.
Maybe just an assumption that the Poppy was going support. So they wouldn't need to deal with double as bullet time going to come in. Lahens will be taken down immediately. Good knock up there from Sponge, but he realizes Gideon is not a correct target. Pleta going to be taken down as Kingen looking so dangerous, but Rich as well is doing a fair bit of work. Kingen goes golden. My God, the needlework is absolutely terrifying. And there are 2 inhibitors down, remember? So super minions making their way towards the base. It is a 2-for-1 trade. And Nongshim with a man advantage are looking to try and end game 1 here. 31 minutes in. And in goes the public execution. I just don't know whether it's going to do anything. And in fact, there's a reason for that, because it didn't do anything. Yukao goes golden, but that is just to watch this Nexus turret go down. That was a cute little shifting sands. And there goes the Nexus. Goodbye. Nongshim with a game 1 win over DRX. And DRX fair.
Already solidified by the fact that they have Roam. This solidifies it has to be on Varus. And honestly,
they're happy that for this game to go a little bit later as well. It's kind of important as Sponge going to move on over. There is so much vision here for Nongshim towards his top side as Yukao does make it into this brush first, but Pleta's going to get engaged on. He's a brawn though, as there's another. It's just his signature move now. The old flash from Lahens. Sponge going to be able to flash out of there, gets himself a shield, and Pleta just being the hero here as Teddy trying to get on in, but he's going to get stunned up. Gio going to be going down for first blood though, and Lahens going to be the next one. There's the stun, there's the kill. and Sponge was basically dead, and then ends it off by stealing away the second kill of the game.
Oh, gotta watch out for Gideon. He's still very healthy.
He is. Doesn't have a massive amount of damage.
Yeah,
this is the scary part. Sponge able to jump on over, and maybe Gideon going a little bit too fast. There it is. Pleta gonna grab his first kill. And Fisher just walks up to them in melee range. The ulti used onto Pleta. He's so incredibly tanky. And Fisher just has no damage. Yukal gonna come on in and says, that's my lane opponent, and that's my kill.
The value of the Braum in these skirmishes. And then the passive gets stacked up. The Q unfortunately misses from Pleta, but it doesn't matter.
Nope. And Jiwoo, what are we doing here? Why are we here? What's happened? Yukal's going to get another kill. Lehens is moving down. Gideon and Lehens don't have a lot of damage together, but Sponge is not very healthy. Never mind. Pleta comes in. Stand beside Braum, as Lehens is just going to walk away. Fisher moving in spells the disengage from DRX.
Yeah.
They are now. It's a bit of a why.
Yeah.
You know?
Dangerous rotation to make. Would have taken a little bit longer for another route. Okay, Rich
is Rich gonna be okay?
I don't think so.
Well, he has the Dominus. Decent amount of fury there as well, as he wants to slice and or dice, and he's just not going to be able to. Gets a Ruthless Predator down and then is just dead. Takes some time, but they get there in the end.
Yeah, didn't really get to click his buttons much there. A lot of CC coming through. Nice kill for Nongshim to get themselves on the board. But in the meantime, Fisher wouldn't react in time, but he still had flash, so I think a bit of an overcommit there. Oh, Rich does have the Black Fever.
Yep, all out coming on through here as the Dominus already down, so trading some ults. Meanwhile, there's a fight towards the top side of the map as well. Sponge going untargetable. In the meantime, Rich is just cutting down Kingin. Nowhere for him to go as Sponge is going to get pulled back. He's got a big old shield though, and this is what you were talking about. There's no damage down there. However, Jiwoo does have some, especially with Fisher alongside, as Sponge will finally die. Thrown, well, not
Wait, he's alive!
Maybe he's going to be able to get the kill, and now Lehens has nothing!
They have no damage!
Oh no! Sponge getting so much health back as well. Lehens is definitely dead. Jiwoo's also going to go down. This is the disaster you were talking about. It was written on the wall by your friend Orcs. And Fisher just says, well, I guess I'll just try and kill mid.
I think in another
Now
scenario...
facing off against Fisher, but this is a 1-1-0 Renekton now. And that's a big advantage. Pleta gonna move in. He's the Braum. I think they're pretty happy for them to engage onto the Braum, as there is the Chains of Corruption. Gideon gonna get stunned up, and yeah, Nongshim may not have enough damage. DRX have plenty. Fate's Call comes on through. That was an interesting interaction as Rich, he's getting ruthless if ever I've seen it, and Fisher is just going to delay the inevitable, is what I can see. Q was actually used there by Rich, but he's got another W.
Oh.
And Fisher is almost dead. There's the flash, just to make sure he goes down.
Yep, and rest of DRX pushing through mid with this Rift Herald, and you can't really engage onto this. If you engage on a Pleta, he's just happy to take that opportunity.
He was clicking forward the entire time, and 3 people were discovered in the brush. He's like, aha, this is what I want.
It's not just Braum, it's Celestial, and it's like, well...
And then you press Locket, and then, like, getting through a Locket shield sounds really difficult for Nongshim's composition.
They gotta move up, they should get here in time.
Yeah, they saw a Callista bouncing around.
It's only Callista damage on this, by the way. This is so slow.
Yeah, I mean, it's only Callista damage that they have, basically. Fisher will turn up, I guess, as now a teleport in from the Renekton. Sponge taking a fair bit of damage. Remember, they're softened up by this Artican. And Yukal just standing on the side. Jiwoo's going to try and push him away, but he trades poorly. And Pleta, he catches 2 with the ult. Yukal going to be able to take down the 80 carry. That is 50% of the damage. And Lehen's going to go down as well. Down goes Fisher, 100% of the damage now dead. It's a triple for Yukal. They'll take themselves all the flowers. And yeah, DRX, they're 9,000 gold in the lead now.
9,000 gold lead at 22 minutes, so a little bit faster pace than the last one, but who is really counting at this point? DRX, only 1 dragon to the name, so really it's not been the priority this game, but I don't think we're going to get close to a soul, so it's not too much of a concern. They will look to push and take this tier 2 in the bot lane. Fisher needs to get out of there. Level 16 Rich, by the way, to a level maybe even a bit more AP.
Yeah. Well, Chains of Corruption going to connect here onto Gideon, but he's pretty tanky. As we're looking for an a Q out of King, and they don't find it. Fisher and Rich at it once again. As now no Unbound Soul and no ulti, as Rich able to get in front of him. Stun comes on through. I think Fisher is still going to be able to walk faster than Rich. Yeah, it is hard to catch the Yone, but Sponge is coming down. We'll take the camp on the way. Yeah, 1 slice coming on through, and there is Teddy on his way down as well. In goes Sponge. No ult for Fisher, and my god, the damage. Okay, it's a 607 Neferi now.
Yeah, Sponge just picking up a kill. You know, he killed the Wolves, he kills Fisher, he kills Gromp. Probably couldn't even tell the difference in terms of difficulty.
There's no split push available here for Kingen or anyone else that wants to be in a side lane. Fisher gets over the wall, knocks up Pleta, and Pleta says, engage on me, please. I would like that. Thank you.
Oh, they have found Yukal.
Yeah, see whether this is going to be an angle. The double knockup comes through from Pleta, though. He just flashes on top of his mid lane. They do not have any damage to take them down, and Rich gets over, finds the unbound soul, and Fisher has to flash away. Jiwoo getting taken down so low. He's out of this fight as well, and Kingen is separated from his team. Lahan's executed as well, and they are picked apart and mercilessly destroyed. Sponge, looking for it, dashes forward, and there it is.
There's the hot dog.
Yep, Gideon crashes into the wall here, and Teddy just stands his ground. Not going to be dying here. Has the barrier also and picks up the double kill. DRX, they grab themselves a clean ace, and maybe they're going to forego the Baron and just look to end this game.
Looking like we're getting a 6-gamer today, all the way, full distance. Nothing that can be done to defend here.
Nope, lands it up in 1 second's time, but it's not going to save these Nexus turrets as DRX do exactly what Nongshim did to them in game number 1 here in game 2 to bring us to a decider in game 3 and feel as game. Maybe some funny business, maybe some shenanigans.
I think Nongshim have a lot of strength, right? You have the combo of the Orianna Nocturne, you have the follow-up from the
flashes. I feel like they were already kind of backing away at that point in time as now Pleta dives in on towards Jiwoo. And the Ignite already employed, as Yukal's already here as well, and Teddy is going to join in. Down he goes, first blood, picked up by Yukal, and the woes of
doesn't look like there's going to be any contest from our perspective, but it's just like, in case they come over, I want to be there to back you up. And it looks like Sponge will just trade for the Dragon on the other side. He's actually getting very low on this Dragon, but does manage. Rich nearly has his ult. 8 seconds, this is so rough.
Well, there's the paranoia, and yep, he's just dead. So no way in. Just needed to sack that wave, I think.
Yep, and if his ult was up, he could have just ulted
the
wave.
Bad decisions, though, when it came to buying runes. As flash forward here from King and gets on top of Rich. The equalizer goes down as Gideon wants to come on over, and yeah, Rich is just dead. Sponge, not going to be able to find anything here. Even spins around on the spot. It was cute pirouette, but not going to actually get you anything.
This is not good for DRX. Top laner going down. Not quite a solo kill, but Kingen just able to jump on him and force the play.
Oh, wow. Lahen's just coming out of nowhere, has the ulti available. Flash out from Sponge, tries to create some distance, but it's not going to work. And even the turret loses interest in the cow. Got a couple of minions left as well, as now teleport coming in. Pleta, can you find the angle? The Magnustorm is up, and he flashes over the headbutt. That was so sick from the young support. As down goes the cow. That's Rich on the board now as well, as they're even looking for more. Kingen going to be avoided, and the Void Seeker does. Wow, as soon as he was in vision, he's like, we're killing him.
Yep. A little bit close. I think it's a Nocturnal actually is the reason he can't ult in. And then the passive timed off. Wasn't the range. That's really unfortunate, but also credit to Gideon for essentially saving his top laner.
Yep, really nicely done. As Kingen looks for Yukal, that's a nice flash as Rich is coming over, but Gideon was chasing him down. There's a Dustbringer to finish it off as well as Gideon. What an incredible day this guy's having as well. Maybe not in game 2, but game 1 was all him, and he picks up a double here at the back end. 1.5k the lead just for the Nocturne.
Strong Jason, they're backfiring massively.
Yeah. And I think they see some of the shutdown gold being available. They say no. Killer Instinct does push Teddy in, but the headbutt immediately gets him out of there. Pleta not going to be able to find the angle as Teddy completely out of mana as well as Sponge. Now going to get discovered. There's the paranoia. Oh, God. That is just, that doesn't even need to be the good old combo there with the Shockwave paranoia. That is just
500 from jungle, 630 between mid lane as well. Basically nothing has happened. And now a tower goes over to the Zeri and the one
just yet. So that might actually give DRX the avenue in here, and Teddy comes on over, and that is going to mean Soul. Well, maybe this is the different game. Maybe this is the one where it's going to work, as Pleta says. Yeah, it absolutely is. There's the Magnustorm. He pulls Fisher over, and Yukal is going to be able to collect his second of the game.
Getting some good considering how far behind they are. Getting these picks is actually really important in clawing their way back. Yes, they lose bot tower, but you know what? they were going to lose that anyway.
They certainly were.
So at least they're getting some, and they just make the biggest fumbles. You're like, I would never make that fumble. I'm like, yeah, but you're not on.
Yeah, exactly. If you had all of that pressure, it'd be a different story. Is the charge going to bypass the first turret because that was already dead? And now in goes Lahans, gets the headbutt back onto Rich. What do you have against this man? He still does get the equalizer down as another Magnet Storm comes in from Pleta, but he unfortunately just does not have any backup. There is no one else here to get anything done. Jiu just explodes with all that electricity and isn't able to get any of the kills on this Zeri, but the rest of the team certainly capitalizing.
Yeah, both supports looking for an angle to engage, and ultimately Lahens goes first, and Lahens' team is a lot stronger.
Yep.
They're able to, good job, guys. We got the Raptors. It's like, okay, they're just taking Dragon. Yep. They don't actually care that much. They just wanted more kills.
We've got pings coming on out towards this top side of the map. True, he did get that Raptor camp. I apologize. There was at least that. This Arakan, I don't know whether DRX are going to be able to stop it at all. Even getting past this Orianna is going to be enough of a problem as Pleta takes half of his health bar from an attack dissonance combo. Was that a shock blast? Yeah. So Sponge loses half of his health bar as well as they clean up all of these flowers. Half the gold lead is just this top side. Yukal transforms his Manamune, and I don't know whether that's going to transform his future.
Why did Yukal Valkyrie when there's Paranoid Shockwave up? Can I just ask?
Yeah, well, I mean,
that'd be the question. Yeah,
that would be an odd move. As Lahens is just going to get Sponge out of here. The Baron is getting taken down so incredibly low. There's the Paranoia. Even though the ward is there, it does not matter because they turn the lights off. And now they go in, but the flash does come through. Equalizer comes down. This time, it might be an opportunity as Pleta will be traded for the jungler, but down goes the Alistair as well. DRX, maybe they have them where they want them. And here's Rich, yeah, Teddy goes in. He flashes out immediately, though, and now it's Sponge's turn. Can someone please get Sleepy? Never mind. Oh! Already used it, that shock blast. My God, and look at that, like Moses. Jiwoo splits the blue sea, I guess, because it's DRX.
I think Kingen remembered he had a gold lead.
Yeah.
Rich, it was turning around. Gideon, he's on Nocturne. He's exposed now. They follow up, and
Pleta is dead.
Poor Pleta.
And the Dragon is too.
Yeah, couldn't flash out of that one.
Back to live, it looked bad for DRX as well.
Yeah. Teddy hasn't died yet.
There you go.
And you know what name they give Teddy?
Yep. He could also possibly use the Fountain Laser to help him not die when they're killing his Nexus.
Valid.
Yeah. May not actually help them with the outcome of this game, though. That's the big problem, as Yukal is looking to chase down Jiwoo, who
put a finger out a little bit, you know. He could do a bit more. That's all I'm saying.
And all right. Wow, that was a flash invested for what feels like just an extendo beam. As two inhibitors.
That was a Hex Flash.
Oh, it's just Hex Flash.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Sponge is out of the fight. Magnet Storm available. Doesn't have his flash, but he can theoretically go for a Hex Flash or something. Headbutt pulled there from Lahens as the Magnet Storm is now going to be employed, but immediately, there goes the combo right on top of Sponge yet again. They don't manage to finish him off as double kill for Gideon to start this one off. Sorry, for Yukal to start it off, but Kingen is actually just a monster. He's the entirety of this team right now in just one champion. He's down to 50%. Yukal does get his health bar back, but the Nexus is naked. And Rich, he also gets his health. That's a big one. And this is a big one as well. Rich goes golden, in goes Yukal, and Kingen gets a shield. Jiwoo, I don't know about that one. You had no more friends left as Shock Blast almost just murders Yukal straight up. But the Nexus, it's still standing, ladies and gentlemen.
They still managed to keep this. Yukal goes in to finish that kill. And then Kingen says, oh yeah, I do 1 million damage.
Yeah. He's done a bit of realizing that throughout.
Yeah. And then this gets a little bit for Rich there, by the way.
Hey, that's pretty cool. That's a plane.
It is.
Yeah. So Rich can now afford Azonia's. As Gideon might actually get sleepy. There's an equalizer. This is a choke point as Kingen's their target. He's trying to get himself out. He's going to survive. That is so unfair. The Orianna also doing so much work here as he takes down Sponge. Out goes Yukal as well. And these wallets were already way too heavy. And then Nongshim decided they're going to drop them on their heads. Look at this. Kingen's like, no, we are so done with this game. And he's going to come on over and put the last few autos into this Nexus. This was an arduous series on both sides, but Nongshim, they stomped